Let's say you have 2 million euro budget and you want to move on an island or in Europe. But how about an island in Europe? There's these videos on YouTube about what 2 million gets you in New York or LA, and they're mostly about just one apartment or house presented in great detail and almost like a real estate tour. And that got me thinking, okay, if 2 million gets you that in New York, what about 2 million in Europe? And what about in different places in Europe? Does it get you the same thing, or does it get you vastly different things? And I'm gonna look at 5 islands in Europe. First in the Mediterranean, Mallorca, Malta and Sardinia, and then in the Atlantic, Tenerife and Madeira. 2 properties for each location, a few objective facts, mostly my opinion and critique. Do you think you're gonna see a lot of cool houses? Think again. It's gonna be some cool stuff, it's gonna be some weird stuff, because that's the purpose of this video. So in the Mediterranean, we have Mallorca. That is our sub number 1. And the first property that I want to share is a studio. Yes, it's a studio for 2 million euros. And granted, it has 400 square meters, but still it's a studio. I think this was at some point some kind of commercial space that someone turned into their home by the shape of it. I don't mind the open layout that much, it's okay if you live alone, but I don't understand how they had 400 square meters and the place ended up looking so cramped and busy. If I would live here, I would definitely create a separate bedroom and I would zone the areas for different hobbies and activities. So I'm not too bothered by what this is. I think this is quite cool to have such a big studio, but the price is a lot, especially if you compare it to some other things that I have on the list, not to mention other things in Mallorca, which are like proper houses with gardens. And this is a studio, okay? This is a studio. The second location in Mallorca is at the opposite spectrum of the studio. So the truth is, the terraces got my attention for this one. And then the fact that it's so different than anything we see nowadays. It's really like a mini castle on the outside and it has a very romantic appearance, which enchanted me, I admit. I was really fascinated by this. The interior and the finishings are not super new, but they seem good quality, which means this would be a property that would be very versatile and easy to renovate. I actually love it. I think it's a very cool place. The only thing I don't love about it is the fact that it's in the middle of the city. So, okay, it doesn't have any views, but apart from that, it has a small garden and what I assume to be a shared pool, but little privacy. Like this has a little privacy being in the middle of the city. And I assume also a lot of noise coming in. So 2 million and for having this place in the center of the city, I think it's a very cool place. I'm like, if you want to live in the city center and you have money, like, I guess it's fine. Okay, moving on. We're sailing away to Malta. The first property for 2 million in Malta is a property that needs complete renovation and in which you cannot move in because it's in a very bad state. So the layout and the functionality are pretty curious because it says that it has 4 bedrooms and 7-car garage. But it's curious, like, there's no photo of this 7-car garage. So I don't know if it's a typo, if it's real, or if it's a scam. Because it's very odd indeed. I like the garden and I like the house because I like old houses in general. But thinking of paying 2 million for a place in which you cannot live and which needs at least 500,000 minimum of renovations, it seems a lot when you compare it to other things in Malta and also on my list. There are quite similar houses in Malta which are livable in the current state. And I found another one, and granted, it's on the second island of Malta. But look at this one. Well taken care of, pool renovated, and it's also renovated without covering the nice historical details, like the stone walls, all the arches. They also have this room which is very long and has lots of arches, and when I saw it for the first time, I almost thought there was an optical illusion with mirrors. And there are mirrors, but it's not only that. This room is actually very long. It has 4 sitting areas, one after the other. This is very cool, I like it. And the light on the arches is a very good choice as well for emphasizing very elegantly the arches. So this house has 5 bedrooms and is almost the same price as the other one. And in one you can live and in the other it rains on you. I guess price really is subjective. I'm interrupting this program to bring you the sponsor of this video, and the sponsor of this video is me. I sponsored this video just like all other videos. So if you want to support me doing these videos, it would be very, very cool if you would leave a comment with the favorite video that you watched from me, if you watch other videos. And then if you haven't watched other videos, it would be very cool if you would leave any emoji, preferably animals. I would really, really appreciate it. And that's all. Now let's get back to the program. I'm gonna sail away to another beautiful island in the Mediterranean, and that is Sardinia. And I'm gonna start with a dream location. So look at this ocean view. I think this is a type of house for which the saying you pay for the location is very, very true, because yes, the location is exceptional. However, the inside is cheap. It's recently done, and this is a very new house from 2022. And I guess they wanted to have a reason for the 2 million and say, look, it's done and ready to move in. But I would look more carefully at the details. The floors are basic, the bathrooms are basic, there's no storage in the bathrooms. The kitchen, basic. They left this odd finishing on top of the kitchen cabinets, and it just looks like nobody wanted to deal with this and they just wanted to get it done and have it finished some way. The sink is next to the cooking plate. So I guess this kitchen was designed by someone who has never cooked in their life. And the living room is so basic. They've done it, they finished it, and they couldn't plan cable management for the TV, and it's just hanging there. So normally, if you have a new build in this day and age, the position of the TV is pretty much planned from before anything is planned. Like, you plan where the TV is and where the cables for the TV would go. And you would put them as you put all the electrical wiring in the walls. So you wouldn't have cables hanging down the TV, because they would come out of the wall just behind the TV, and then you wouldn't have any cables there. So this house wants to show that it's ready to move in, but I'm not sure that this type of moving in is worth for 2 million. So basically you pay here for the location 100%. So maybe someone who has 2 million will spend another 200k to make this house nice and cozy. Maybe, but I hope not. Which brings me to the second location of Sardinia, which is the opposite of this one. It's one that is very cozy, and it has like a lot of character, a lot of stuff. It has probably too much stuff. It's a bit overwhelming with everything that it has inside. So apart from me seeing it as more interesting, it's a house that has 2 kitchens, and it has a chapel as well, which is not something that all of us use, but it's still a cool thing. Also wait for it. So it says on the side that it has 22 rooms. So this is a multi-generational house or hotel, or basically it can be both. It can be a combo of all in one. And for example, I'm just gonna go briefly to it. Look at this room. It has a grand piano and a split level bed. So this bedroom is already infinitely more interesting than the bedrooms that we've seen in the other house. I find this house more interesting, probably, or maybe because it has 22 rooms. So it's just the sheer amount of space that is in there. And it's also more interesting in general. Like, if it would be a house with 22 rooms in the style of the other one, I would dread it. I would dread that house. But this one seems cool. We're gonna move away from the Mediterranean Sea into a bit wilder waters, which are the islands in the Atlantic. And the first one is Madeira. And the first house, I see this as a classical mansion, the type that you would imagine that like rich people used to live in. Seems like it because of the quirky things that they have. So they have a vanity table in the bathroom. I've actually never seen a vanity table anywhere, and I appreciate this dedicated space for women to get ready. They have this chair with a matching ottoman to look outside the window. So who even thinks of a dedicated space to daydream while watching the sky? Then to add to this, the chair is in a huge room, which is actually the office. So they have a room which is the size of a studio apartment just for the office. Of course, they have a dressing room with windows and chairs and table, but a dressing room with windows is so rare. And I also want to point out that they have blackout curtains and they have clothes storage. Speaking of clothes, they have a laundry room, of course. I love laundry rooms. They make the whole rest of the house way tidier. And to end the quirkiness, they have a shaded garden. And also, if you look at the floor in this space and also on the terraces and everywhere, it's very nice stone set. It's actually a lot of labor to make this kind of floors. The functionality of the house is exceptional, and the details and the thinking that go into all the spaces is the proof that this house was very, very well thought of. So I can talk for hours about the importance of laundry rooms, of course, if there is space, but if you pay 2 million for a house, we've seen pretentious things, we've seen new things or renovated things. This is the first one where we've seen a laundry room. If a house has a laundry room, it's usually a very, very good sign. I'm biased, but it is a good sign. If all of this wasn't enough, I present to you the view. So this house is insane. I love it. I love the inside. I love the functionality of it. It's easy to renovate. It's easy to organize it. And it also has like garden. It has the shaded garden and it has an amazing view. So this house, oh my God, is the same price as the studio in Mallorca. I cannot believe it. And somehow Madeira not only has one of these houses, but two. So I found a very, very similar one. Same style, same look. I want to mention two quirky things for this one. The most curious thing is that it has a chapel. So actually this might be a feature of expensive houses that they have chapels. I didn't find the chapel on the plans though. So it's in the photos, but not in the plan. And then, wait for it, it has a toy collection dressing. A car toy collection display. I don't even know what's the appropriate name here because I've never seen such an extensive and specialized collection for toys displayed like this. My first thought was, does the house come with these little cars in it? Probably and hopefully not, which means that this person selling the house will have to move their car collection. Their mini car collection. Moving on to our last stop of the day, and that is Tenerife. And the first location in Tenerife is one in which the owners are probably friends with the ones from Malta, because this is a very cool house. It's 2 million and you cannot live there. Again, repairing the damages will cost at least 1 million extra in this case, maybe even more. If you see the support poles in a damaged house, you can already calculate extra 50% cost for repairs. This means that the house is structurally not stable. If you hear like structurally not stable, it should be like an exclamation mark that it will cost a lot of money to repair that. It wasn't clear how many bedrooms it has. It's probably 4-bedroom townhouse for 2 million, but you can already plan that you won't live in this house for 2 years. I'm gonna show you another one, not a better one, but we have again the opposite of the spectrum. This newly renovated, smaller townhouse with just 3 bedrooms, no garden, but with a little pool. However, again, this doesn't look like a 2 million house. I know all the budget went to paying for the location, since this is the most expensive area in Tenerife. So this is similar to the house in Sardinia. It's cheap. It looks cheap, and it is actually cheap. You can look at the furniture or the objects in the bathrooms and they are of the cheapest scale. So we have one which is not renovated, you cannot live there, and we have one which is renovated but super expensive. It's almost like an apartment. Again, like I can find better houses for 2 million in Tenerife. Easy. Why did I choose this one then?